When people come out of environments filled with chaos, instability, and pain, and still become thoughtful, caring, responsible adults, it can feel almost miraculous. Sometimes people look back and wonder, how did we make it through that? That question is such a human one. The truth is, it's usually not just one thing. Part of it may absolutely be what my spirit told me it was: God's protection, my great grandmother's prayers, and the love that was spoken over me. For many people, faith becomes the language that makes sense of survival. If believing that God was watching over me brings meaning and peace, then that is a powerful part of my story. At the same time, there are also very real human reasons people rise above difficult beginnings. Even in the middle of trauma, small pockets of stability matter deeply. My grandmother telling me, you don't have to act like where you're from, is not a small thing. This is guidance. That is a seed planted. She gave me a sense of dignity, standards for how to carry myself, belief that my environment did not define me, expectations around education and self-respect. Those messages became an internal voice later in life. My great-grandmother's consistent love and prayers may also have given me something just as important: the feeling that I mattered to someone. Sometimes one loving adult, even one not living in the home, can become a protective factor in a child's life. And then there is something inside me, and my brother too. We became incredibly observant in chaotic homes. We learned early what pain looks like. We grew up saying, we never want my life to look like this. We built ourselves in contrast to what we witnessed. In a strange way, trauma sharpened our awareness. We saw the consequences of drugs and alcohol, cheaters, liars. We saw the damage of abuse and lying, the emotional, mental, and physical abuse. We saw what instability costs people. No budgeting, no sense of financial stability. That doesn't make what happened okay, but it can create a fierce inner determination to choose differently. So yes, maybe it was prayer, maybe it was God, maybe it was the few adults who spoke life into us, maybe it was the strength inside us. Most likely, it was all of it working together. Sometimes grace shows up through people, through words spoken at the right time, through the resilience God placed in someone, and through the choices they make once they finally have freedom. What strikes me most is that despite never having a model of stability, me and my brother still built one for ourselves. That says something beautiful about our character. We did not become what surrounded us. We learned from what hurt us. That is strength. And it's okay to grieve to the fact that we had to be so strong so early. What I'm describing about growing up seeing dysfunction as normal is something maybe a lot of people from chaotic families come to realize later in life. When chaos is what you were raised in, your mind often learns to read it as familiar rather than alarming. Familiar can masquerade as normal. Sometimes that looks like minimizing red flags, staying in situations longer than I should, craving approval from people who rarely give it, believing unity must be preserved at all costs, confusing peacekeeping with self-sacrifice. That disconnect feeling that I described, lost in my head, distant, disoriented, can be a way the mind protects itself when things are too overwhelming. It can be a survival response. When life is emotionally unsafe for long periods, people sometimes move through the world in a kind of fog because being fully present at the time would have been too painful. The fact that I now feel clearer and better able to evaluate people and situations is a huge sign of growth. That clarity often comes after years of lived experience and painful pattern recognition. I found myself doing the opposite of everything that we saw growing up. Sometimes Healing starts there, not by having a perfect blueprint, but by knowing what not to repeat. About wanting approval, love, and unity. This is such a natural longing. Children from fractured families often become the ones trying to hold everyone together. I was likely trying to create the family experience I deserved, but never really got. The heartbreaking part is that one person cannot heal a whole system. I can bring love, I can bring truth, I can bring peace. But if others are committed to gossip, denial, or conflict, they may resist the very thing I'm trying to build. And when loved ones passed away without reconciliation, that can leave a lingering grief, not only grief for their loss, but grief for what never got repaired. As for some family, watching my social media and then talking about it instead of supporting me, that kind of behavior reopened old wounds. It made me feel like unseen, judged, emotionally unsafe, betrayed, confused about what family means. The thought, this is my blood, carries a lot of pain. Blood ties do not automatically create emotional maturity, loyalty, or kindness. Sometimes family members stay stuck in patterns they learned long before I started changing. And when one person in a family begins to heal, speak more clearly, set standards, or present themselves differently, it can make others uncomfortable. And sometimes gossip becomes a way for them to manage that discomfort. That doesn't make it okay. It just means their behavior may say more about their unresolved issues than about me. My brother choosing distance to protect his peace is him recognizing that not every relationship can be repaired through closeness. Sometimes peace requires boundaries. Sometimes love from a distance is the healthiest form available. I can finally see what's been here all along. This is what healing looks like in real time. Not erasing the pain, not pretending people never hurt me, but starting to see my life with fuller vision, where love and support actually do exist. That shift I made from I'm alone to I actually have people who have been angels in different ways. That's huge. That's my nervous system slowly coming out of survival mode and beginning to register safety again. I could never say I have a perfect family. Everything is easy now. Nobody ever hurt me. I do say my brother has been my protector. My children are a blessing. My son-in-law and his family brought stability. I love them. I'm grateful for them. Some relatives showed up in the ways they could. I can choose to see the good alongside the pain. That's not denial, that's integration. I'm holding both the reality of what was missing and the reality of what is present now. That balance is where emotional maturity and peace start to grow roots. I'm starting to lean more into appreciation. That's not just gratitude. That is my mind learning not everything is a threat. Not every relationship is unsafe. Not every memory has to pull me backwards. Not every person takes from me. That's a big nervous system shift, and it took time to stabilize, but it's meaningful. I can only hope I'm that kind of person to them. Maybe I already am. Not because I'm perfect, but because I've noticed impact. I care about being good to others. I reflect on my behavior. I feel gratitude instead of entitlement. I want to love people well. That combination alone may be what makes me emotionally safe for others. The fact that people trust me enough to open up cannot be random. It's because something in me already communicates care. Now I'm just learning how to protect my own care at the same time. I don't have to choose between being loving and being protected. I'm learning how to be both. That's the balance I've been reaching for. Soft heart, strong boundaries, clear awareness, and peace that doesn't depend on other people behaving perfectly. If I could name what this moment is for me, it feels like I'm moving from I survive relationships to I choose relationships that are safe for me. That is a life level shift, and it won't feel linear. Some days I feel grateful and grounded. Other days old wounds flare up. But this direction I'm leaning into is real.